สนับสนุนโดย Extreme Build and Burn Whey Protein Isolate สูตรผสมแอลคาเนทีนและวิตามินรวม
Hey guys, Hunter Labrada here. Today I wanted to take you through some tips and tricks I've learned over the years for training your arms. Alright guys, let's get into our first exercise for biceps. It's going to be standing alternating dumbbell curls. Alright, so the first tip I have for you specifically for biceps is to internally and externally rotate your hand through the rep. What I mean by that is as you near the bottom of the rep, you're going to go from here down to here. You're going to allow it to rotate. What that's going to do is it's going to allow the long head of your bicep to become fully stretched and extended at the bottom of the rep. Whenever you have to start curling from that fully stretched and elongated position, it's a much harder rep than it is when the muscle is already partially contracted, and it allows for maximal recruitment of the muscle. So, as we continue through the rep, that rotation, when we come up, the external rotation will actually force both heads of the bicep to contract further than if you were to just curl it like that. The second tip I have for you today is one that you can apply to any bicep exercise that you're performing, and that is to pull your shoulders back when you're performing your bicep motions. What that's going to do is it's going to take your front delt and your chest out of the equation, so whenever the reps start getting hard, you're unable to go like this because your shoulder is going to be pulled back, and all of the motion has to occur at the elbow joint. Whenever we're performing it, most people, you see how my shoulders are over, we're curling, yeah, it works. Whenever you pull your shoulders back, your biceps are locked in, your elbows are locked in, and you're able to get a much better contraction by doing this. So throughout the rep, whenever you keep your shoulders contracted, you're able to keep all of the stress on the bicep. This tip involves the use of a bench to change the point of attack on the bicep and allows for a truly isolated bicep motion. Now, let me show you what you can do with the bench to truly change the dynamic of the exercise. All that it's going to involve is taking the bench and one, maybe two holes down. We're in a position where we're leaned back and we truly are with the shoulders back and the elbows back. What this does is it places all the stress on the bicep. This variation of the bench curl, I like performing with an actual bicep curl instead of a hammer curl because you can truly isolate the bicep and get a better contraction by using this angle on the bench. What's important when you're doing it this way is to keep your shoulders back, because whenever you're at this angle like this, you have a propensity to come forward like this to try and curl it. That's not right. You're going to be using your chest and your front delt. You want to stay back with your scapula contracted, keeping your arms and elbows back and your elbows pinned. Now that we've gone over the tips that I have to offer you for training your biceps, let's move on to the tips that I have to offer for training your triceps. So my first tip that I have for training triceps today is to not flare your elbows when performing the motions. What this does when you flare your elbows is it takes a lot of stress off of the tricep and places it into your elbow joint and the various tendons that anchor your tricep and your forearm into there. Let me show you what it looks like when performing a skull crusher. Whenever you flare your elbows, like say like this, whenever you're coming back, I can already feel this in my elbows and my chest and my shoulders. All of the stress has been shifted from my triceps to the supporting muscles that I'm not even trying to train by doing this. Like I said before, we're truly isolating the motion, so the only motion that's going to be happening is at the elbow joint. Your humerus, the long bone, and the top of your arm is not moving. So, as previously mentioned, we're going to go just shy of lockout in an effort to keep constant tension on the muscle. So my next tip I have for you today is to internally rotate your hands, or to turn them in as you perform the motion near the peak of the exercise. What that's going to do is it's going to allow for maximum activation and contraction of the whole tricep while placing an emphasis on the outer head of your tricep, which is an often neglected portion of your tricep. First, I'm going to illustrate this tip to you using a dumbbell kickback, and then I'll show you what it looks like on a rope press down. Alright guys, so to start, we're going to have the dumbbell here in a neutral position, and then also we're going to have our arm, like I previously said, we're going to want to keep the humerus as straight and as in its original position as possible. We're also going to want to freeze the shoulder joint and allow for as little motion as possible, having all of the motion come from the elbow joint. It looks like this. So as we extend, we're going to start with a neutral hand position, and we're going to rotate back and out, truly allowing to isolate the tricep, especially the outer head. Now that I've shown you how to really internally rotate your hand on a dumbbell kickback, let me show you what it looks like on a tricep pushdown. Just like all of our other exercises, we're gonna wanna keep our humerus really pinned, the shoulders back, and as we move through the motion, we're gonna wanna internally rotate our hands. Keep our elbows pinned and truly externally rotate. There's a much, much heavier contraction and a lot more stress is placed on the actual tricep. You really can apply this tip to absolutely anything that isn't on a bar that's connected. Anything that you use a dumbbell for, a cable for, a rope for, anything. You can definitely use this tip and you'll definitely get a benefit from using it. Let's move on to my third and final tip for training triceps. This one has to do with close grip bench press. The problem I have with this exercise is people tend to keep their hands way too close. What this does is A, places an extreme amount of stress on their wrists, B, really places a lot of stress on the AC joint and your shoulder joints, and C, it takes a lot of the stress off of your triceps. What we're gonna do is scoot your hands out just a little bit. You're still gonna be close. For me, it works out to be approximately my pointer fingers on the start of the knurling. We're gonna get out here. We're gonna keep our elbows tucked, and you're gonna keep all the stress on the tricep by doing so. So at the bottom of the rep, we're able to keep the elbows tucked, the stress on the tricep, and we have a firm grasp on the bar and not an extreme angle on your wrist. Looks like this. Alright guys, so now that I've gone over some general overarching training techniques to use for when training both your biceps and your triceps, I've included a workout at the bottom of the page for you to try and apply them to. The exercises picked for this workout really are conducive to applying these tips and techniques, so give it a try and make sure you let me know what you think. If you have any questions regarding the tips and techniques I gave you in this article or any of the other articles or videos I have on bodybuilding.com, don't hesitate to shoot me a message on BodySpace. My name's Hunter Labrada, all lowercase, no spaces. For more articles and content like this, keep on coming back to bodybuilding.com.
สนับสนุนโดย Extreme Build and Burn Whey Protein Isolate สูตรผสมแอลคาเนทีนและวิตามินรวม
Zero Performance Sport Nutrition